Hi, students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Budapest here in Central Europe. I hope everybody is having a great weekend so far, staying strong, healthy, and productive. Hi, Maksud. Hi, Carolina. This is a members chat class, everyone. That's why I turned on the members only chat mode at the beginning of class. You can become a member of the channel by clicking the join button next to the subscribe button. We will have an all chat class where everybody can join the chat in 90 minutes for speaking part 3 that will continue from this speaking part 2. Hi Bagjan, good to see you in class. Hi Hassan, hi Ferdavs. All right, so this is going to be speaking part 2, cue card practice with a new cue card, and we're going to work on a band 9 response. Hi, Ferdovs. Of course, this material is coming from our website, and it's presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Visit and join us there. For the general IELTS, please check us out at IELTShelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of those websites, we have loads and loads of materials for you to help you improve all parts of the IELTS. Now, we have lots of materials for speaking, and you can book speaking interview practice with professionals, including myself, as well as find speaking partners. This is the academic website here with the blue background. You can click that big red button to join the premium package. And I'll just quickly show everybody that's watching, members, just be a little bit patient with me, where they can find speaking materials. So once you're in your My Student account, you have lots and lots of materials, computer-based practice exams, full online course. And then on the right side of the web page, you have student partner speaking and speaking interview practice. And like Skype or WhatsApp, you can video chat and audio chat with other students. This is the General IELTS website here. Same idea, same kinds of tools for speaking. And you can click that big red button to join us there. Okay, let me brighten up our world here, members, and we'll get on a little bit. Move the screen to the right. Okay, it's not here. Bagjan, I think I know what it is. It's an overlap here. There. Thanks for that, Bagjan. I think you should be good now, right? So there shouldn't be any. There we go. Yeah, there was just another window that was encroaching on the main view window. Okay, cool. So again, those are the websites. You can find lots of help there. These live classes go Wednesday to Saturday at this time, and from 3 to 4, so an hour and a half later as well. If you have questions, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com, and you can always see the schedule on the YouTube channel's community posts. Okay, I always post it for the next week, so I'll be posting next week's schedule later today. And again, we have speaking part 3 in 90 minutes, and then of course the next class will be on Wednesday, October 21st at 15 o'clock Central Eastern European or Central European Standard Time. That'll be a speaking part 1. Okay. All right, so let's do this. We're going to move nice and smooth here, members. So let's, because I have a little bit of extra work for us today. So we're going to go through this response a little bit faster than usual. You're going to see why. All right, so step number 1 is always to read the questions, especially this topic question twice. Here we go. Talk about a time you felt much pressure to achieve a goal. Okay, so talk about a time you felt much pressure to achieve a goal. We read it twice. Okay, thinking about that. So it's a situation where I felt a lot of need or stress to reach my goal. When did this happen? What did you need to do? Why did you feel pressure? How did you manage this pressure? And what happened in the end? Okay, and Carolina says that, all right, so here we're talking about an event that happened in the past. Maksud says we can use past simple, past perfect. Very good. I like how everybody is moving at a nice, quick pace. So the category here is absolutely an event. We're using past, simple, perfect, continuous tenses for our response. Okay, very good. The topic is when you felt pressure to achieve, and the controlling idea, all the other questions. Okay, so we're visualizing and we want to come up with 2, 3 possible plausible ideas that we can talk about easily and quickly. Okay. Yeah, Roger, absolutely. Anytime we talk about the past or the present, we should think present perfect. Native English, we love to use a lot of present perfect. I've been doing this. I've done that. Okay, so absolutely get lots of present perfect in there. Okay. So coming up, Maksud says lots of pressure. Why not? Preparing for IELTS. Okay, sure. Carolina says applying for a scholarship, VFS Canada. What does VFS mean, Carolina? So Vancouver Film School, I'm guessing. Applying for a scholarship to Vancouver Film School. Yeah, lots of films shot in Vancouver. Vancouver Film School, quite popular. Carolina's like, yes. You should know that, Adrian. It's around the corner from you. It's true, Carolina. I am very familiar with Vancouver Film School. In fact, I know people who went there. I have friends who went there, and I know people who work there. Okay, Hassan says, participating in an architectural international competition to design a sustainable building. Wow, Hassan, what a mouthful and what a brilliant idea. So international architecture competition. Yeah, the rest of it is good. It's good thinking, Hassan. You don't really have to, get that deep at this point because, of course, you can explain that. All right. Ferdovs, it says, how about getting the driver's license? So passing, let's be even more specific, Ferdovs. So passing my road test for driving. That is one. Yeah, Carolina says getting a driver's license as well. Okay. How about this one? I think all of us will agree this one is kind of a good one as well. Taking the standardized high school exam. National high school exam. Did everybody do that? Did everybody have these standard high school exams which determine whether you can go to university and what university you can go to? And if you get a really great mark, you can even get a scholarship to many universities. Did any of you do these high school standardized national exams in your country? I think most countries have these exams. In Canada, we have them as well. They're called provincial exams, but it's the same idea as the national exams. Yeah. Anybody know what it's called in the U.S.? The U.S. one is quite famous, quite well known as well. Anybody know what that one's called? Let's try to pick one that all of us can kind of work with here. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Let's take some votes, and then we'll all kind of do the same. So we'll all focus on the same one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one do you feel would be a good one to talk about? You can talk about it easily. You've got lots of information. You can answer all the questions on the card. Use good fluent language. Verdov says 4. How about taking the driving test? Begjan says 2. Applying for a scholarship to Vancouver Film School. Oa says 4. Yeah, I really like 4. I think that all of us are sweating bullets when we take our driver's license road test, okay? Usually there are at least 2, nowadays often 3 tests to get your driver's license. One is the paper exam, right? The rules of the road. And then the other is the actual driving test where you have to drive with the examiner. So yeah, I think 4 is a really good choice. I think that would be a very clever pick for this one. Okay. All right. And there are a few reasons for that when we visualize why that one definitely we have some pressure. So number 4 it is. I like it. That's a clever one. Okay. So I think Ferdovs was the one who first suggested that. So Ferdovs, bam! There's a huge thumbs up for you today. Okay. So driving test. It's called a road test. One thing about this one is the vocabulary could be a little bit tricky, but that's okay because for today, it's a good practice and I can maybe teach you some vocabulary that goes hand in hand with taking your road test. Okay, so driving road test notes. Usable notes. All right. Now remember that this is an event, right? So time, location, reason, attendees, activities, outcomes, or feeling. Okay? So that's what we're thinking about. Give me some notes. Nice and fast, students. Nice and fast. Don't overthink it. Your notes don't count for your score, so if you make spelling mistakes or if they look strange, it's totally okay. Write your notes in English, okay? But don't worry about spelling or words or anything. Just use abbreviations and just do it as best as you can, okay? So, Maksud says 5 months ago. Okay. Now, in Canada, that would be at a provincial driving licensing center. The DMV is what they call it, the driving motor vehicles, I think, the DMV. Okay, in the US you'll hear that abbreviation, DMV. Driving and motor vehicles, I think, maybe something like that. You might want to look that up, but it's called the DMV. Okay, so like I say, just giving some... Okay, so Maksud said, driving around the heart of... So... Let's go driving downtown Vancouver. Since we've mentioned Vancouver today, why not stick with that right now? Okay. Abhishek says 1st of January, right on. I don't think they're open on that day, Abhishek, because that's right after New Year's. So I don't think you'd be doing a driver's test on the 1st of January. But we've got 5 months ago, so that's fine. All right. Romaine says, need the license for job application. Yeah, maybe. What kind of a job are you going to do, Romaine? Think about that. Okay, if you're going to say that, I think it's a clever idea because it's added stress. You need it to make money, right? So Abhishek says to become a cab driver. I think there's actually extra exams for that, Abhishek, so be careful. Yeah, Abhishek, pizza delivery. I think that's a good one, okay? So, or food delivery, especially during COVID, right? A lot of people are getting jobs doing food delivery. So, food delivery, pizza delivery, pressure to make money, right? Okay. So who are the attendees? Okay. Who were the attendees? Let's not go to the paper test, Ois. Let's leave the paper test out of this. So the road rules exam, let's leave that out of this. Okay. Me, the examiner. Okay. And who else do you think would be there? Let's put another person in there. You and the examiner were in the car, but visualize here who took you to the exam. That's right, Hassan, my father, right? That gives you a little bit more to talk about with the pressure because your father's there. If your girlfriend's there, Romaine, might even give you more pressure to perform. Not seem like, I don't want to say this, but like a loser because you can't pass your driver's license exam, right? So, yeah, extra pressure, right? So me, the examiner, I'm going to go with my father. So you want to make your father proud. There's extra pressure there. Okay, very good. All right. Activities, what happened? Okay. So give me a couple of interesting notes about what happened. So you're doing the driver's test. I'll be honest with all of you. I did mine 3 times. I failed the first 2 times, passed on the 3rd time. So I definitely have some experience with this, but that's a story for another time. Yeah, so... but it was a different kind of test when I did it 20 years ago than it is today. Okay, so what happened? What were the activities? Think about your... Abhishek, let's forget the paper test. Okay, let's not mix that in here. That's too complicated. You usually do the paper test to get your learners way before you do your actual road test. So let's not mix those two. Okay. All right. Yep, just give me a second. The camera fell asleep here. I still haven't switched the camera, but I'll definitely switch it today. I've made a note for myself. Meanwhile, you can visualize what happened here during your road test. Okay. Okay, so Bekjan, parking. Anybody know what it's called, that kind of parking where you have to go in front, come back, and then kind of park in sideways next to the curb? Anybody know what kind of parking that's called? There's a little bit of... and that's the one I think that everybody's really nervous about, especially if they do it on a busy street. I know for me that was one of the interesting situations. What kind of a parking is that called in English? It's not angle parking. Think about 2 lines beside each other. And this is a word that I often use for teaching IELTS, or the prefix anyway. It's called, that's right, Rejveer, it's called parallel parking. Okay, maybe there was heavy traffic. Got cut off. Made mistakes. No shoulder check. Okay, all right. But in the end, you passed. All right. So that's, those are some good ideas here. So there was heavy traffic, maybe some traffic jams that you had to go to. Somebody cut you off. It means somebody went in front of you without using their signal suddenly. Maybe you made some mistakes. You're like, oh no, I forgot to put on my parking brake, or I didn't do a shoulder check. And you had a bit of stress with the parallel parking. Okay. All right. Rodriguez said, Father, hug me. Okay, so proud. All right, let's keep going here. So, your feelings, outcome, okay, obviously you were stressed, but afterwards, happy and fulfilled. Okay, so just so you don't forget to answer those last couple of questions. All right, now, when you're taking your notes, here we have when did this happen? What did you need to do? Okay, so we've got those. How did you manage this pressure? That one we didn't really talk about yet. So make sure that you remember to keep your questions in mind here. Give me one note about how you managed this pressure. So what did you do to manage the pressure of your driving test? Okay, just give me something. Ferdov says, I consumed pills. Please do not do that, Ferdovs. So please do not take Valium or some kind of downer to... it's not a good way. It's funny, Ferdovs, but I'd like to think there are much better ways to manage pressure. Bekjan says, think positively. So Bekjan, okay, that's a good idea. What were you thinking? Try to be more visual. Rajveer said, followed the instructions. Okay, Romain said, took a few deep breaths. Okay, so paid attention to breathing. Yeah, that's always a good idea for managing stress. Without oxygen, we get really stressed. Okay, what else might you think about? Visualize. Okay, you had some water. Carolina said, I visualize myself driving in the future. That's good. Okay, why not visualize your teacher or your father sitting beside you? And this way, he's really there with you. He didn't just take you to the exam, but you visualized him sitting beside you, telling you what to do, keeping you calm, right? That's a good way. Remember, that's what I always say for the IELTS exam members, right? I always say visualize that your grandpa is the examiner or your grandmother just for a second, and that will help you to center yourself and really calm down. And just remember that the sun will shine tomorrow and the world's not going to end, right? So those kinds of visual tricks are very, very good for the mind. Okay, smile. All right, good. Get your first sentence ready. So we know this. Okay, so give me the first sentence here. Members, I'll go back to the original question. So talk about a time you felt much pressure to achieve a goal. Think about this. Use this in your first sentence. Get right into the topic. Get right into the right idea. Okay. All right, so Carolina says, a time when I felt much pressure to achieve a goal was when I had my driving road test. Perfect, Carolina. If you start that way, it's perfect. You're using almost verbatim the question, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because it just really tells the examiner right away that you read the question, you know what you should be talking about, and boom, you're on topic, and you've picked a great answer, driving road test, and you're feeling pressure. Everybody can sympathize and empathize with that situation, so why not? Absolutely. Okay. Let's have a few other ones. Okay. Okay. Rodrigo said, a really nervous time when I felt pressure was when I had my driving road test. Very good, Redveer. Not pressurized. We don't use that for humans. That means you're about to explode. Maybe you're full of anger or something. Good try, but we never use it that way for human description. So just pressure. I felt pressure. Okay. Beckjon says, the time when I felt much pressure was when I passed my driving test 5 months ago in downtown Vancouver. Very good, Beckjon. Same thing. Pressurized. I'm not sure where you got that from, but that doesn't exist in this content. Okay, it sounds very kind of funny, kind of awkward for sure. Okay, so careful with that. Okay, Romaine says, I traced back a few months ago. I endeavored to obtain my driving license. Romaine, please. Okay, good try, but don't use these complex words in such an awkward way because it's really unnatural. You would not get a good score for that. I traced back is, it's not used in this sense. Trace something back, Romaine, means that you investigate into the past. Like I traced back my steps 5 months ago when I lost my wallet and I realized I had left it at my friend's house under the couch, something like that, okay? So traced back is used in a very different context, Romaine, and endeavored is again used in a different context, so be really careful. It's very awkward when you have multiple misused words or expressions in one sentence, okay? Ois says the road exam necessary for driving in Syria is the first paper exam and road test after 1 month, and I paid about $100. Ois, remember what I said. Don't talk about the paper test. These are two different events. Paper test is one, driving test is the other. They both are unique. And because you're talking about both in this first sentence, it's quite awkward. So just focus on the driving test, just the road test. Okay? Just the road test. Make sure that you don't make any mistakes with this first sentence. Otherwise, you're going to lose marks very quickly from your band score, okay? Maksud says, the time when I was experiencing stress to achieve was when I got my driving license. Okay, Maksud, good. A little grammar correction. Hassan says, the most nervous time that I had in my life is passing the driving exam and getting a license. Okay, Hassan, that works. That's good. Okay, good grammar. Good fluency, good use of words. Abhishek says, the time when I felt heaviness 5 months ago was to get my driving license test. Abhishek, heaviness, it's a different concept. Heaviness means stress, but it's like concern, like you're really worried about someone or a situation. Like Abhishek, I'll give you an example. I felt much heaviness when my company lost a lot of money and I feared that I would lose my job. Okay, so I'm really worried about a situation. Or I felt a lot of heaviness after my cat died, right? So you're very depressed. Okay, so heaviness is used differently. Ferdov says, I was under pressure when I took my road test 5 months ago in St. Petersburg, Russia. Okay, Ferdovs, looks good, all right? Ois, you do not need a general sentence first. You need to be specific, okay? IELTS does not like general ideas, so they do not like generally stated concepts in your speaking or in your writing. It's unoriginal, and that's kind of what we're going to get to today. You're going to see this. Why? Okay, so here we go. Good start. Roughly 5 months ago, back in May. Remember, this is speaking, so for everybody watching, make sure to speak and repeat. Okay. So repeat after me. Roughly 5 months ago, back in May, I felt a ton of pressure when I took my road test to get my Class 5 driver's license. Hi, Anil. Welcome to our group of members. Make sure to send me an email so I can hook you up with those exclusive videos. And please join the class. Okay, Anil? So just join in. Just get right in there. Okay, so good. Next sentence. All right. So 5 months ago, driving downtown Vancouver, food delivery, pizza delivery, pressure to make money. Give me some sentences. Give me some sentences. Beckjun, I had this driving exam 3 times and finally passed successfully. On that day, I woke up at 8 a.m. and went to the exam center at 9 with my father, John. Okay, Beckjun, that works. So you're putting in some fluency and you're recreating some of my nightmares from the past, but that's okay. Good use of the past perfect there. Had. Yeah. Rashika says, a time I felt much pressure was when I had got my driving road test. Had done. Rashika, I had done. Okay. It's done. It's an event. It's in the past. It's finished. It doesn't continue to today. So you're using the past perfect, not the present perfect. And it's had done. You do the driving road test. Okay. Fantastic, Anil. Welcome. Okay, so let's keep going. Give me some more sentences after this. All right? Give me some more. I'm going to type a little bit, and then we'll compare. Okay? So all right. Sammy, better late than never. Welcome aboard. Okay, so here we go. While you're thinking, location, participants, okay? So my road test was at 9 a.m. in the morning during the tail end of rush hour in downtown Vancouver. Take a note of this expression here, tail end, okay? Tail end, of course, means kind of the last part of it. So if we say that rush hour is from 7:30 a.m. or 8 a.m. until 9 a.m., then 9 a.m. would be the tail end. It would be kind of when rush hour is starting to subside. Subside means break up, okay? And that's the tail end of rush hour, okay? So watch these nice expressions, collocations. My father had driven me, okay? So here I'm using my past perfect, had driven me to the test center, and I was sweating bullets, to say the least. This is an interesting idiomatic expression here, sweating bullets. It means you're sweating, like when you're hot, you're sweating. And bullets means you have these bullet-sized sweat drops. So it's a very visual idiom. Of course, everybody knows what a bullet looks like, and you can just imagine a bullet sweating off of somebody's head like that. They're very, very nervous. When you're sweating bullets, it means that you're extremely nervous. You have very large beads of sweat coming off of your head. That's supposed to be a head, by the way. Like that. Okay? All right. So you're sweating bullets. Probably not smiling that much. But anyway. Okay. Maksud says, I had this test in order to work as a pizza delivery man and make some money for my IELTS exam and university studies, right? Maksud, why not? Throw that in there. Good idea. Ferdav says, during the pandemic, I lost my job, so I plan to find a job in the delivery sphere. And for that, I had to have a driver's license. Very good, Ferdavs. I love the creativity there. Bekjan says, I wanted to get my driver's license as soon as possible because it was one of the requirements of my job application for pizza delivery. And I needed this job to make money for IELTS and for university. Very good, Bekjan. So I love the creativity, students. That's fantastic. Okay, Ois says, I did the exam in Vancouver at the Motor Registration Center, and I paid about $200 as a fee on the exam day. And my father accompanied me there. The exam started 8 a.m. from the motor licensing center to downtown. And then I did some parallel parking. Okay, O is good. Careful not to have too much too quickly. Okay, all right, very good. So I really needed to get my driver's license as soon as possible, as I had applied for a pizza delivery job. And this was, of course, one of the job requirements. I needed to get this position so that I could make money during university for my expenses. This created an added pressure to pass the test. Always come back to the idea of the question, right? So here we go. I really needed to get my driver's license as soon as possible, as I had applied for a pizza delivery job, and this was, of course, one of the job requirements. I needed to get this position so that I could make money during university for my expenses. This created an added pressure to pass the test. Okay. All right. Okay, let's create some more sentences. So, parallel parking, stress. I want to challenge you to write some nice complex sentences here using vocabulary and a more specific situation. So write for me a sentence that describes your experience trying to parallel park and how that might have created stress. Maybe get the word heavy traffic in there. Maybe get the word no shoulder check in there. So this situation, okay? All right. Rajveer says, back in May, I decided to get a food delivery job to make some money for the IELTS exam. And this license was necessary documentation to carry out the job, of course. Okay, good, Rajveer. Romain, I was aiming to get a job as a pizza delivery man or woman to earn some money because I was due to be a father in the coming months. Wow, Romain. That's really putting on the pressure cooker. Okay. Bakshan says, once I got there, there were 4 candidates in the queue, and I felt a lot of pressure while waiting for my turn. I almost fainted when the examiner asked, is Bekzan Omar Zakir? Very good. Bekzan, you can say, I was pale as a ghost. Okay? When you feel really nervous and stressed, you might be pale as a ghost. Let me just give you that word as well. The notes here, pale as a ghost. Okay, pale means you have no color in your face because all the blood is gone. All right. Ferdov says, I took my road test in the car with automatic stick. We don't say automatic stick, Ferdov. Stick means you have a manual car. Automatic is just simply automatic. It's automatic transmission. Automatic transmission. Ferdov's the word. Okay. Automatic transmission. There you go. Okay. Anil, nice to see you joining on the chat. Fantastic. I met a girl when I had been working as a transporter for a pizza store. I had delivered a pizza for her and I fell in love as soon as I see her. Okay, Anil, So you've already got your driver's license in this case. Here we're talking about the driver's license road test, Anil. So we're not quite there yet of feeling the pressure to drive our girlfriend to the movie theater quite yet. Okay. All right. I hope everybody is working on that sentence that I asked for. So parallel parking, heavy traffic, shoulder check. Give me some sentences with that. Okay. I'd like to see you being creative. I'll type up a sentence. Don't look at mine until you're finished with yours. Okay, so here we go. Of course, Anil, get in there. Here we go. Okay, good. So Hassan says the most difficult task was parallel parking. I was nearly hitting the sign on the road. However, I closed my eyes and I remembered it was just an exam and not the end of the world. At the end, I managed to park in the right position, and my father was proud of me that day. Very nice, Hassan. I like how you're really wrapping it up too. Rajveer says I was accompanied by my father, and during my test term, the examiner asked me to do parallel parking. I developed an anxiety as soon as I heard it, and I was shaking while doing the parallel parking. Good. Yeah, shaking in your boots. Okay. So, everybody's doing great so far. You probably saw that I was typing away, typing away. It's because I wanted to leave a few minutes for a little bit of extra here, okay? And you're going to see why. We talked about this earlier in the week. Bekshan, you talked about this as well. So just let's go through this together. Let's read from the top, and you'll see why I kind of got to the end of this. So just speak and repeat. You can try this again on your own later today as practice. Here we go. So speak and repeat with me, okay? So roughly 5 months ago, back in May, I felt a ton of pressure when I took my road test to get my Class 5 driver's license. My road test was at 9 a.m. in the morning during the tail end of rush hour in downtown Vancouver. My father had driven me to the test center, and I was sweating bullets, to say the least. I really needed to get my driver's license as soon as possible, as I had applied for a pizza delivery job, and this was, of course, one of the job requirements. I needed this position so that I could make money during my university for my expenses. This created an added pressure to pass the test. Definitely the most challenging part of the test that made me really nervous was having to parallel park up a hill in heavy traffic. Although I did a good job, I realized a bit late that I had forgot to shoulder check before leaving the parking spot. I was able to cope with the pressure of the test and parallel parking by imagining that my father was there sitting beside me and calmly talking me through the necessary procedures. Also, I really paid attention to my breathing. I took long, deep breaths whenever I felt anxious. In the end, I passed the test and I really made my dad proud. I also got the delivery job, so it turned out fantastic, and now I've already saved money for my first semester of university. Okay, so your time is up. Please pass back the card, the note paper, and now we will continue with part 3, and I will ask you a few follow-up questions regarding part 2. So this is what we talked about, and this is what Bekjan says, and this is a part of the IELTS exam, is they ask you some questions, a couple of questions about what you said in part 2. So, for example, the examiner here might say something like, how long was this road test from start to finish? Okay, so the examiner's thinking about what questions to ask you while you're giving your speech, while they're marking you, and they might ask you a question like this: how long was this road test from start to finish? Okay, so give me a nice complete answer for this one. Again, you want to remember that you need to be fluent and express yourself. It's not just a chit chat. So here we go, members. Let's do these follow-up questions. I'm going to throw a few of them at you. So how long was this road test from start to finish? Okay, give me a nice answer for this one. And don't just say 30 minutes. Okay, that's not fluent. So in the real IELTS exam, they're going to follow you up with a couple of questions here before getting into the specific part 3 questions. All right. So Rajveer says, the exam was scheduled for 20 minutes and I was able to complete it on time. Maksud says, well, it took about 2 hours to accomplish my driving test. Bekjan says the driving exam lasted for about 30 minutes, starting at 10 a.m., finishing around 10:30. Very good, Bekjan. Okay. Sammy says the overall test took around 3 hours, starting from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Okay, yeah, so you can make it up. So I don't know how long road tests are in other countries. Rashika says it had taken almost 1 hour to finish my test. Very good, Rashika. I had like your past perfect there. Romain says the overall duration of the exam amounted to about 45 minutes, including identity checks. Very good, Romain. That's what I was thinking. So, well, the road test itself took about 45 minutes from the time we got into the car until we got back to the test center. But overall, I had been there for about an hour and a half because of paperwork and just waiting in line for the examiner. Okay, so that would be your full fluent answer. Okay, it's really easy for these questions to answer in a non-fluent kind of short way, just because you've already given a really long answer. So you're so happy that you're done this little 2-minute speech that you're like, oh, 30 minutes, right? But you must not do that. So you have to show your best English and your best communication all the way until the end, all the way until the examiner says, that's the end of the speaking section, and you say goodbye, okay? So keep showing fluency, super, super important. So repeat after me. How long was this road test from start to finish? Well, the road test itself took about 45 minutes from the time we got into the car until we got back to the test center. But overall, I had been there for about an hour and a half because of paperwork and just waiting in line, or British would say in queue, for the examiner. Okay? All right. Yeah, Ois, that's why road test is a really good answer for this one. All right? Okay. Okay. What kinds of instructions did the examiner give you besides parallel parking? Okay. Here's another one. So let's do one or two more. Give me some answers. Everybody get in there. So Carolina, if you're still here, get in there. Our newest member in the class today, Anil, get in there. Okay, give me some answers if you're still here. So what kinds of instructions did the examiner give you besides parallel parking? Okay, give me an answer for this one. And I'll put another one up here. You can think about that. When did you start feeling stressed about this road test? Okay, there's another question for you as well. Try to be quick. I know you're thinking, but remember, in the real IELTS, you have to be fluent, so you can't overthink it. You just have to give the answer. Okay? So Ois says, stopping at intersections with red lights. Sure, Ois, why not? It's great. Okay. Sammy says, apart from parallel parking, the examiner asked me to drive in reverse, do an H-shaped drive, but I couldn't finish. It was really difficult. Hassan says, the examiner asked me some questions about road signs that we passed by and how to follow them correctly. Oh, it says to follow the speed limit. Yeah, I don't think they actually do that. It's just that you don't want to speed. Yeah, Rajveer says the examiner asked me to perform a takeover and lane driving test aside from parallel parking. Very good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so aside from parallel parking, the examiner gave me instructions on where to turn, also to drive in reverse, as well as overtake a car on the highway, and to make a U-turn. Okay. So, here we go. What kinds of instructions did the examiner give you besides parallel parking? Aside from parallel parking, the examiner gave me instructions on where to turn, also to drive in reverse, as well as overtake a car on the highway, and to make a U-turn. U-turn where you turn back. Okay. Carolina says, besides parallel parking, the examiner asked me to drive in reverse for 5 minutes. Oh, wow, Carolina. That's too much. 5 minutes, it's a lot of reverse driving. Okay, and one more question. When did you start about the road test? Visualize this. Maksud, this is kind of a shift to part 3. So they say this is part 3, Maksud. So this is part of part 3, but they're really just following up 1 or 2 questions on part 2. So just like students said in a class earlier this week, I think it was on Wednesday's class with part 1, and Bekjan said this too, that after they finished part 2, the examiner right away asked a couple questions. This is kind of something new that the examiners are doing just to make sure that students are being original and not just really memorizing a lot of content. So they're going to follow up. So when did you start feeling stressed about this road test? This could be absolutely a question because it's on the topic of pressure and what you're talking about. So when did you start feeling stressed? So this is part, to be clear, Maksud, this is part 3, the beginning of part 3. Okay. Yeah, Carolina's saying they're doing this because the examiner is checking that you didn't just memorize some answers. So Ferdov says, when I heard that 90% of test takers fail on their first attempt. Okay, Ferdov, sure, that works. Yeah. I would definitely say that I started freaking out the night before the test, and in fact, I had poor sleep as a result of this. Okay, if I had to be specific, around 10 p.m. the day before. Okay, so maybe something like that, all right? I don't know about you, but if I have an exam in the morning, like 8 a.m. the next day, I kind of start to get a little bit nervous for sure already the day before, okay? So repeat after me. When did you start feeling stressed about this road test? Oh, I would definitely say that I started freaking out the night before the test. And in fact, I had poor sleep as a result of this. If I had to be specific, around 10 p.m. the day before. Okay. Hassan says, since I got in the car, I felt so nervous. Even when the examiner asked me, are you okay? I told him yes, but I have to stop for a minute and breathe, some fresh air to calm down. Okay, I thought, Hassan, you were going to say I had to stop for a minute and go to the bathroom. But yeah, no, that's great, Hassan. It says, my anxiety started 2 days before the test and it increased when I saw the examiner in the car on test day. Ois, that's really good. Romaine says, being an anxious person, I started to feel pressure the night before the exam itself. Then I focused on visualizing what the process could be like the following day. Very good, members. Fantastic job today. Everybody watching, join our websites for the premium package at aehelp.com for academic, glshelp.com for general, for lots of HD videos. Coming up in 30 minutes, everyone, part 3 to this part 2. Some more specific and challenging follow-up questions, so make sure you're here for that. Thanks for your great participation. Anil, welcome to our group of members. Send me an email so I can hook you up with your perks. See you shortly, everyone. Bye for now. I'm Adrian, signing out from Central Europe.